Hey guys, welcome to session number 33 of the Trailer Music Composers Podcast. Whoop whoop. One man with one microphone, whose favorite MCU film is Avengers Endgame. Welcome to the Trailer Music Composers Podcast. Hey guys, welcome to another session of the Trailer Music Composers Podcast. In today's session, I wanted to talk to you about a tool that you can use and action to get over setbacks. Because let's face it, any career, any life is filled with setbacks. And the trailer music industry, being a composer, is by no means anything different to that. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is because actually, you know what? Setbacks can come in any shape or form, and they can be little or they can be large, but often the response to them is usually the same. Balls. Sometimes it really starts to affect your ability to write music. Sometimes I've had setbacks. For instance, when I thought I was in line to land two humongous trailers. How long ago was this? Blimey, 2011, I think. I just got into the trailer music game, and one of the first few tracks I'd written landed into the hands of the editor of what was it then? Man of Steel. There we go. Man of Steel, and another track landed into the hands of the editor of the reboot of Star Wars. It's not Star Wars, sorry. Star Trek, the cool one with Chris Pine, which I'm a huge fan of, by the way. So I'm a huge fan of comics. I'm a huge fan of Star Trek. So that was like, oh my goodness, I've made it, and I've only been trying for this couple of years. It was amazing. I was planning out my future. Oh mate, I can buy this house. Because I figured, how much am I going to earn from Trailer One's full track usage. I was laughing back then. Anything over $5,000 was a huge payout for me, so that was ridiculous. I was like, I've won the lottery with my own skills, it's amazing. And then lo and behold, I didn't hear anything for ages, as you do in a lot of these synchronization things. And the trailers came out, and I was like, brace yourselves, press play. Oh, this isn't my track. Oh my god, I didn't land either of them. I was absolutely devastated. I mean, this was my first introduction to the whole competitive nature of it, but also the realistic nature of it, that your track will be one of many tracks in being cut, to one of many trailers being cut, to one of many houses cutting the trailer. So, the chances of landing are very slim when you think about it as if you're Data from Star Trek, or C-3PO, the chances of this landing are approximately 1 to 1 million, 1 million and 4 to 3, whatever it is. I wish I could have said that cooler and more concise. I would have sounded like more of a nerd, but sorry guys, I failed you. So, it was my first exposure to real, in my eyes, failure. Wasn't at all failure, by the way. What it showed me was how much I really wanted to get into trailer music. At that point, library music and advertising was my main game. So that was like, oh, actually, trailers, this is huge. So I must have taken a few weeks, maybe even a few months to recover from that. Not that I was skulking about, crying in a corner or anything, but it was a really hard hit. The possibility, it's kind of like I felt like I'd won the lottery, and then someone says, oh no, that's my ticket. Which is kind of what they did, but in all fairness, the tracks that were used were fantastic. I think it was Superhuman did the Star Trek one, and I can't remember who it was who did the Man of Steel one. But anyway, I didn't get them, and it sucked big time. However, had I been able to, again, I keep talking about hindsight, had I had the hindsight to look at it from this, I think James Wedmore calls it like the 30,000 view up, as if you're looking down on your life from a mountain, you can see the path going ahead. Had I had that, I probably wouldn't have reacted so detrimentally. I stopped writing. I even thought maybe I'd give up being a composer. It was that serious. I think it was also the size of my ego back then was considerably larger, I think. Which I think is a good thing that it's got smaller, as I've got older. Well, I think it's got smaller, I don't know. Anyway, so I want to give you a tool that I have heard and seen of in so many different iterations, but I heard one iteration of it recently, and I just think it was absolutely beautiful. Just beautiful. And I thought, you know what? This is something the guys on my Trailing Music podcast should hear, and this is something I should action, and this is something they should action too. Obviously, I don't know whether about you, but obviously being British and having a family obsessed with Monty Python, I grew up watching tons of Monty Python. And obviously part of their canon is their movies, and specifically Life of Brian, endlessly being quoted in my household and family's household. Those are my juniper bushes. So anyway, and obviously at the end of Monty Python, Life of Brian, you hear the song, always look on the bright side of life. Okay, which is great advice. However, I never found it that actionable. It was kind of like when you fall over and sort of smack your head on the concrete. It blooming well hurts. Someone coming over and going, "Oh, it's not that bad." Bloody well is bad. It hurts. You want to acknowledge what's going on. You want to acknowledge that pain you're suffering. Yes, I have banged my head, and yes, it really hurt. However, so the other one, of course, is that every cloud has a silver lining. So every setback, there's something there. The other iteration being behind every problem in your life is a lesson to learn. But this is the one I liked. This iteration I heard on, it wasn't on Tim Ferriss's podcast, it was one of his books, but it was through the interviews. I think his name was Jocko Willink, Navy SEAL. Correct me if I'm wrong, I may be wrong. But he had this idea of using the word good. Whenever somebody came to him with a problem, he'd say, good. And when I first started reading it, I was like, well, this sucks. That's not good advice. Obviously the critic in me was flaring up, probably because I was tired. So I was like, okay, carry on reading. And then it was like, okay, so I'm going to put this into the context of us trailer music composers. So you don't have enough money to buy the sample libraries you think will get you a trailer. The answer is good. It will encourage you to be more creative with what you have. I'm so bummed out I didn't land this trailer. I got right down to the last track and the other trailer house won it. Good. Gives you more time to hone your craft and write better tracks. And there's other ways you can look at this. Good, you've now got a great track out of it. Or good, you now have more experience of the industry directly. I mean, these are fantastic things, and I want to apply this to me as well. It still sucks when I don't land a trailer, and that's why I don't like to know if my tracks are in line for anything. If it's like, hey, you'll never get, oh no, shush, only tell me when it's good news. Only tell me when it's landed. Because the amount of times it's been like, we're in line for this, and I've gone, oh my gosh, and it's never happened, and then it sucks. But maybe when he says to me next time, or when whoever says to me, "Hey Rich, this track is in line for this trailer," I go, good. That means I'm obviously doing something right. And I mean, what other instances could we as trailer music composers use this tool to help us grow and develop? For instance, another classic one is I just can't get this track to sound right. And there's multiple answers to this. Good. Gives you a chance to have a break away from writing to let the ideas flow back in. Or good. It's another problem, another creative problem that you can solve. I mean, I just think it's absolutely genius. And I mean, obviously, I had to kind of like pick up my phone and go, time for walkies, Richie, you know, because I just wanted to share it so much. I just think it's such a powerful idea, you know. Oh, someone's put a negative comment on one of my YouTube videos. Good. It's giving you a chance to take the higher road. Amazing. It's just really nice. It's nice to be like, oh, there's a lesson behind everything there, you know, idea. Saying good, then it helps you reveal the lesson, because I could never know, like, what's the lesson here? What's the lesson? You know, falling out with my friends again. What's the lesson? Good. Gives you a chance to find out what's really important in your life. You know, these type of things, they all feed back to your writing. And this is, I think, why I've started this podcast in the manner I have done, because I wanted to help you guys realise that being a composer, and for us specifically being a trailer music composer, is not all just the samples and the bohams and the 3 acts. It's actually more about everything else you do around your writing. You know? Oh, I've only got this microphone. I don't have a Neumann. Good. Then you can stop spending your time worrying and just focus on using the tools you have. Good, you can get more creative. A lot of the lessons are similar, you know. I don't have this. Good, it gets you to encourage creative limitations. It's just so lovely. So, I mean, if I apply it to myself at the moment, oh man, I don't have that much time to write music at the moment, because obviously I'm building Protege School with Vic at the moment. Good. It means that I will put every ounce of my energy into building the best school possible. It's just such a wonderful way to kind of flip it on its head. You know? Like, for instance, I don't have time to sit and write trailer music. I've got an hour-long commute every day. Good. That gives you time to learn, time to listen, time to absorb. I mean, had I known about podcasts when I was doing my commutes, I would have been on it like a monkey. I don't think that's a saying. On it like someone's bonnet. I don't know. I'm sure I should have thought something much cooler to say. But I would have been on it. I would have been like, yes, I'm going to do this. You know, and I know that's why a lot of podcasters started. I know John Lee Dumas, with his Entrepreneur on Fire, he started it because he wanted to help out commuters who were in a 9-to-5 job they hated, so that they could then start this online company and then build their careers from there. So he did it every day so that he could target those people, those commuters. And, you know, for me, I used my commute to learn a little bit of French, because I had a CD player that worked and learned some French. Me and my wife would commute together and we'd sit there sort of, you know, sur la table, practicing our French. I can't remember any of it except that, just because I'd never heard sur la table said like that before. And what was the other thing? Correcting, you know, growing up, this is a real sidetrack, but you know how you say je ne sais pas, like I do not know? He was like, no, you should say je ne sais pas. So there are the two things I learnt for my hours and hours and hours of French lessons. Thank you very much. Anyway, I digress. Use that time to absorb stuff. Use the word good as a way to look for that silver lining. It's the pivot. That's the important thing. Like, looking on the bright side, seeing the silver lining, learning the lessons is quite hard. But actually, when you use this word, it, for some reason, is like the magic pivotal word. It's like you switch your mindset from the sufferer of an inconvenience to the teacher teaching the student a lesson. You know, with the complaint, oh, my my hard drive has failed and I've lost all my work. Good. Next time you'll be more prepared. Okay, sensei, It's like, oh, this is awesome. It switches you into a place of power, and I really, really like that, Like just now. I'm not sure what to do with my time, I've done all the things I need to do. Good. You can go for a walk and record a podcast because you enjoy that. Okay. Thank you. It's such a simple tool. So I just want you to think about that right now. I mean, this could be like a journaling point for you, and I'm going to start talking about journaling a little bit more because I think it's really important. And I'm going to start gradually introducing more and more of these other ideas into this podcast because I think it's so healthy as creative people to not just be sat at a computer and that's our creative output. No. Your creative output should be your life. Everything in your life should be creative, and I just love that idea. We are creatives and everything we do should be creative. When we cook, it should be creative. It should be a creative expression of ourselves. Again, we've been given these gifts. We need to expand upon them and let them out more and more, and we use this tool to make sure that we don't fall at the hurdles that are presented to us. Because life's a journey, life's a challenge, and there will be ups and downs along that road. I sound like this. I feel like I should be like about 70, Oh, son, there'll be journeys and travels and ups and downs, but you must remember the word good. Because it's the pivot point for your changing your mindset. Mindset is huge. Use the word good to pivot your problem. Because most of the comments I get from people, whether it's in the Trailer Music School, whether it's through the podcast, whether it's through my YouTube channel, it's a problem. And a lot of it could be like, I have this problem, good, because of something. And this just leading on to something else. Don't use your energy to be negative. It'll just come back to you. And I'm kind of thinking about the Spitfire audio competition. I know this is probably quite late in the day to be talking about it, but I heard I didn't actually see what was happening. I don't go on forums very much. I just heard it through the grapevine that actually people were being quite nasty and not particularly nice about who won and etc. I don't know the finer details of it, but please don't waste your time being negative. If you've got enough energy to be negative, you've got enough energy to be doing something more productive. I'm not saying don't be skeptical, that's different, or analytical, that's different, but don't just use your energy for that stuff, please. I didn't, for instance, I didn't like the guy or the track who won this competition. Good. Let this be a lesson to you to produce work more in line with what you want. Or good. This has shown you how much you really want that. Ended up going a little bit sprawling then, but so much of this stuff is interconnected. What you give off comes back to you. Probably going to do a law of karma episode, I'm sure. But I want to help you help yourselves. I think there's a song in that, isn't there? And I want to help me help myself too. And I found that tool incredible. I mean, even if you only ever use it once, great. That's one tool to get you to the next problem. Because there will be consistent challenges on this thing we call life. Sometimes we have tools that we use all the way along. Sometimes we have a single tool we use once. But it was important, And I like to think of my life as a computer game. I grew up playing games like Monkey Island and Legend of Zelda. Many others, but I'm specifically thinking of those two. Monkey Island especially, where, I'm encountering this problem and you have to look for the solution. Sometimes that solution is saying the right thing to the right person. Sometimes that solution is just in the room with you. And sometimes the solution is an object you have or a tool you have to help yourself progress. And I think too much of my life I've seen problems as vast walls in front of me rather than an interesting problem I can solve. And I'm not necessarily like trying to dehumanise your problems or dehumanise you, or even trying to trivialise your problems and your life, because some of you may be facing some real problems. But I wonder, can this little tool be of help and of service to you? I mean, I sincerely hope it can, because, I mean, then that would be great, wouldn't it? Again, guys, you are absolute legends, and I so very much appreciate you guys listening to this. Now, next time you have a problem in your trailer music world, good. See it as a point to learn and improve and get better and progress. Now, if you wouldn't mind taking the time to leave a review or a rating on iTunes, just so that other people may hear this, that would be great. Or even share this somewhere. I mean, I love when I see that someone has shared this, because that means I'm doing something right, and I'm very, very happy about that. You guys are absolute legends, and I will speak to you soon in the next episode.